so excited to have this guest on the podcast today, Amy Rudy. She is tremendous. She has been a huge impact on just me personally and the company Guardian Owl. So thrilled to have her here on Go AI. Amy, you own Impact Sales Systems. Can you tell the audience what is it that you do? I know, obviously.
First of all, thank you for having me. I've been so looking forward to this. But Impact Sales Systems, we work with business owners and their sales teams on the behaviors behind selling. We actually contract to a result, so we typically get to work with an organization and their leadership a year, 2 years, 3 years, but we guarantee to work with them until they get there. So a lot of my perspective on things tends to be around behaviors of leaders, behaviors of people, things we can control. So today, my perspective will probably be around that, if that's okay.
Oh, absolutely.
All right,
Absolutely. And I feel like sales is one of the most important departments of any organization. So AI impacting that and behaviors, I'm excited to get into it. So, well, I guess just kicking off the conversation, when you think artificial intelligence, Amy, what comes to mind?
What comes to mind to me now is efficiency and smarts. And when I say smarts, I mean more information going in to inform a decision, better questions, more efficiency, faster, better ways to do things. You said sales being such an important area of a business. There is that perspective that says nothing happens around here till somebody sells something. So I do kind of lean toward that thought myself.
Same. Absolutely.
Now, when I first thought of AI, I got to tell you, it was, how is that even possible? And I was pretty intimidated.
Yeah.
I knew that this could affect everything, anything in a business, and therefore it's going to affect how we sell. And so if it could affect anything, I think it has to be a consideration in everything.
It's already affected just in my sales strategy. I mean, I've been using it as a tool, but ChatGPT being able to help respond to an email, for instance. So, no, it's already being implemented into our sales process.
And speaking of ChatGPT, that's kind of the tool that really raised the profile of AI for pretty much most of the public when it came out like late November 2022. Although AI had kind of always been a part of our lives since then, like with Apple, kind of Siri, Amazon Alexa, things like that. It was kind of already with us. But until somebody was able to kind of give us a product where we could one-on-one just interact with it, say, write me a poem, ChatGPT, and you get a poem.
Within seconds.
Yeah. Suddenly everybody's like, oh my God, AI. And Silicon Valley kind of responded by, putting their foot on the gas there. So we've seen a lot of innovation over the past few years. What over the past year, AI-wise, has really stood out to you and caught your attention?
As far as the technology, I'm getting introduced to new ideas and new thoughts every day, and it's amazing. The things that have stood out to me most, in particular, is how is it going to affect the business of selling? In my personal life, it's affecting a lot of different ways, but where I'm trying to help other businesses do different things, there's two things. One is, is my business, as a business owner, I think the questions we should ask ourselves is my business ready and able to use AI to make decisions, to go in a particular direction? Is our data strong enough to be able to make a good decision, drive behaviors? Are we focusing and prepared to dig in to the right questions? So those are the things that come to mind that catches my interest, is that can we be effective or will we be left behind? So if I could tell you, so a real situation, I get to work with lots of different businesses and business leaders.
Across industries.
Across industries, for sure. And so a couple of weeks ago, I was sitting down with a procurement leader from a very large manufacturer. And he was sharing with me how he's using AI-powered tools to find suppliers, okay? So he's looking for particular suppliers in a different region of the world because he's not real comfortable or real confident in some of what's coming toward him right now. So he's using AI to find suppliers who can hit a certain spec, certain volumes, hit certain time frames, have certain capabilities. But first, he shared with me that the work effort to gather the information of who these candidate suppliers could be, that the tool shaved like 80 hours off of his data collection
Oh my
effort.
gosh.
Right. He got it done in like 30 minutes. That was just to get the
Just the
information.
efficiency.
Right. So, and you know that he wasn't going to get 80 hours of uninterrupted work.
No.
So it probably shaved months off of his work effort. And then he shared with me that he started making calls. And so that's an inbound call for a salesperson, by the way.
Okay, yeah, sure.
This guy's calling them. And so imagine, how would your salespeople perform if an inbound call came and said, okay, here's who we are and this is what we're looking for. Do you all have the capabilities for X volume, or what would it take for you to be able to handle X volume in X kind of wide time frame doing Z capabilities? How could you get there? What kind of an investment might it take for you to get there? How could we work together to perhaps help you become a significant supplier for us? An inbound call, most salespeople are not prepared for that. So the real question is if an inbound call came that well informed and out of left, what would supposedly be left field, would a salesperson score or fumble?
Wow.
Would the business owner score or fumble on that opportunity? And the second thing that came to me when he was telling me the story was how many highly capable businesses would never have been found when he went looking.
Oh my gosh.
Just completely get passed by, right? You're either lead or be left behind.
Talk about visibility being important.
So those are the things that catch my attention.
I'm sure listeners can relate to the RFP process or the bidding process. I mean, it's outbound. Now you have, to your point, companies are like, nope, here are the 80 different companies I want to call and interview. They meet our criteria. Here we go. Let's see who, to your point, from a sales side, is winning in those inbound calls, or are they just flubbing it? And it's like you're immediately eliminated because you didn't answer the questions, or you weren't prepared, or you didn't show up. So, it's a whole different process.
Prospects might be thinking outside the box, and if we're stuck in a box, we're not going to be in the game.
Oh, I love that. Well, how do you see AI affecting your business and as a coach and advisor to your clients? I mean, obviously with this happening, it's just a paradigm shift.
It pushes me to teach and model AI in sales processes and in behaviors. It pushes me to learn.
Yeah.
Teach and model. I still have a ton to learn.
And we're all learning with
fast.
this.
And we're having to learn fast. And so, I look at where it's going to affect and is affecting lead generation. Where is it affecting our ability to forecast? Where is it affecting the importance of the quality of information that salespeople must gather? It's really one of the bigger behaviors. That's always a challenge for business owners. But even the possibilities and how it's going to change how prospects will buy, how they will qualify or disqualify as an opportunity for us. So my clients, they range from advisory to channel selling, manufacturing to technology, marketers to makers, right? They're selling, as business owners, how do we get in front of not only how we might use AI in our business, but how are we going to sell into a business that's using AI to make its own decisions? Selling to people that are using it to find suppliers, people that are using it to forecast, people that are figuring out how to be more competitive, increase their capabilities. Are we prepared to sell into companies that are using AI to solve their problems? We're supposed to be the problem solver, right?
Right.
So, they're making their businesses smarter and faster. We've got to be right there, shoulder to shoulder with them. AI affects every area of the business. Yes?
Yes. I agree with that.
I can't even think of a technology in my lifetime that has been so broad reaching. Maybe when voicemail systems first started coming out, I don't know, but it changed a lot for people, expected people to respond faster, for example. But my clients sell into HR, They sell into finance, they sell into sales, they sell into operations, production, procurement, shipping, every facet of the business, right? So sometimes, and they're selling into small businesses and large enterprise, but sometimes they're even selling into groups where multiple facets of the business are going to have to come together to make a decision, or the issue is affecting
Oh, that's so
multiple
true.
areas, right?
Yep.
And so we can no longer just understand our business and provide our features and benefits. We really have to understand our prospects' businesses, how they make decisions, what challenges they're facing. They're trying to solve an issue. They're solving for X. We have to understand their business, how they make money, what's costing them to make money, what's happening in their competitive space. That's kind of always been out there, but they're moving so fast. If they're using AI to drive their business forward,
You're going to be left behind.
for sure.
I want to focus in on one particular kind of AI. The big example, probably the most famous example of this in the world right now is ChatGPT, which is created by OpenAI, a company that's also putting out, for example, Dolly, which kind of gives you images on demand. And now it's putting out Sora, which gives you videos on demand.
Wow.
And I kind of want to ask what role that this particular kind of AI, generative AI, can play within the sales.
I think that's an excellent question, because I'm also learning the difference between assistive AI and generative AI and into some of the other tooling. But quick, time-efficient production of content is an easy way to see how AI could be used in sales. Building personalized responses to a customer or a prospect, knowing their communication style and then matching it. If they're going to respond to a text, send a text.
Yep.
If they're going to respond to a phone call, pick up the daggone phone.
Mirror it.
If they are more likely to respond to an email that has bullet points in it, as opposed to, right? I mean, that level of understanding, make sure that the generation of the information going to them is however they would best receive it. I just think it's so cool how it can match my style. I still don't understand it, but I'm just going to have to use it anyway. How it's matching my client style with my style so that things do sound really genuine, the
Yep.
generative things I'm doing. But I do believe that there is a danger of salespeople not taking the time to review.
Yeah. Not using it as a tool.
That's right. That's right. Using it as the answer as opposed to the tool.
Yeah.
And so if they're not taking the time to review the response or analyze it to make sure, one, it makes sense, and two, that it's even accurate. It's using internal and external information to give a prediction. So the quality of the data is crucial. So weak information is probably going to create a weak response.
Bad data. And I mean, it hallucinates, ChatGPT. We've talked about this before. And so if you're not using it as a tool and you're using it as this end all be all, I mean, you're going to send a lot of content out there that's inaccurate, does not sound like you, obviously. So you still need that human element when it comes to sales and utilizing this technology for sales. At least we think so.
Yeah, and the common sense issue as well, where it's just the classic sales exercise, sell me this pen. If you're using AI to sell pens, well, guess what? AI doesn't use pens. It doesn't know what a pen is. Humans know why we use pens. So you kind of always need that human touch.
So, AI can power, algorithms that are going to rank and score leads. It'll help us focus on those leads that might be more likely to convert or be of a certain deal size or work within, here's a bunch of leads for products that we can't actually get out the door right now.
I mean, think about the operational efficiency for a company.
Sell the stuff we can produce, sell the stuff we can make money on. Those are two different things sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, it's got so much power. And are we harnessing it and giving people information so they can make better decisions? Or are we allowing people to blindly head off and do what they've always done?
Or just not embracing it at all.
That's right. Argue with
Not
it.
using
Go ahead.
it. Yeah,
argue
not
with
using
it.
Like you said, you'll be left behind.
I also see where automating repetitive tasks, right?
Yeah.
So follow-ups, provide detailed takeaways from meetings with clients or prospects, right? Getting those detailed and getting that information right back in front of the prospect. That's what AI could do efficiently and effectively, quickly. Follow-ups that sometimes some salespeople might sit on that for like a week.
They don't want to do.
Or just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
So, it should allow us to spend more time having meaningful relationship building conversations, strategizing, no more flying by the seat of your
ideating.
pants, right?
Not being in Salesforce, putting in data when you could possibly utilize ChatGPT or some of these generative AIs to help you with that. I mean, I know from a sales standpoint, that's always like, oh, do I have to do this? And you do, especially now more than ever, because good data in is going to help you in the long run with machine learning and obviously this technology.
I completely agree. It can even customize an offer that a customer is more likely to respond to, right?
That's great.
So how many times do you see some big offer goes out and a small fraction of people take it up? Well, they've actually projected that and built that low response into their forecast. They can get very pinpointed and give Connor the offer that he would accept and you an offer that you would expect. It might be changing the way my business operates because I might be making two very different things, but I'm going to hit a higher production number this month. Does
Absolutely.
that make sense?
And it's personalized. And I mean, the way Connor likes to be spoken to is different than me. That kind of goes back to your disc too. I know the audience probably doesn't know this, but Amy also within Impact Sales System, she utilizes this tool called DISC. Can you talk a little bit about that?
So DISC is a 4-quadrant personality learning style assessment, communication style assessment. So it helps people understand what their own strengths and weaknesses are and understand what the people they're communicating with, what their strengths and weaknesses are, so they can better match up to help someone to facilitate a decision in a sales position. So love it, love it. Strengths and weaknesses, we all have them. It is what it is. There's no better or worse.
But if I'm putting out a proposal and I know I'm talking to a D, dominant personality, versus someone who is a C and very wants a ton of detail.
Yeah.
I mean, those are to your point.
Even just length alone.
Yes. Those are completely different buyers.
Yeah. There's no crescendo when you're communicating with that high D. We know that. Just get there. Boom. They want to see the finale at the beginning.
Exactly. I don't want to wait. I'm impatient.
So you mentioned video content, right? As being created by AI. And I know right now it's a little bit wonky, but the pace of development, I can't even imagine what it will be doing. But, it seems to me that AI generated content does not require a citation or a reference for its source, right?
Right.
From a video perspective, it could make completely false video. I mean, video has always been perceived as the most credible way to explain things, right? And so if I could say, make a video of this particular person, of a particular person in a particular place holding a newspaper with a particular date, I could do that, right?
Yeah.
Wearing a blue suit.
Jenna Ahern,
That's
reading
right.
a paper.
That's right.
In Paris on a bench.
That's right. And so, well, ladies and gentlemen, she couldn't possibly have been there. She was in Paris on a bench.
Yeah, exactly.
So if that was traditionally perceived as a highly credible way to receive information, video, is it possible that people might become more skeptical knowing that is out there? What do you guys think?
That's a great question.
There are some guardrails that are being put up regulatory-wise. For instance, in October of last year, that would be 2023, we're filming this in March 2024, President Biden put out an executive order saying that now it hasn't happened yet, but the ball is rolling there, where we are going to have these things called AI watermarks for AI generated content. So that if you are on Instagram, for example, or whatever, or Facebook, and you see a video and it's made by AI, it will have to say video created by AI. So it'll signal to viewers, okay, I'm looking at AI right now.
And that doesn't mean it's a negative thing, but it does indicate whether there's a reality piece to it.
Yeah.
Or
Right.
the,
I mean, look at Google and the search engines. You have ads sponsored, right? I mean, but that took a
But
little
we
bit
know
for
that.
it to, yeah, it took a little bit for that to evolve. So, and then you have the organic listings. So, yeah.
And that can be, that watermarking can be built into the technology. So that's not like, it's not like an optional thing where it's like, okay, business that's using this to create a video, are you going to watermark this? It's like, no,
Yeah.
if they get the video, it'll already be automatically watermarked, which can come in the
Wow.
form of, I'm not going to get too technical, but it can basically come in the form of like some sort of like hidden code. So that's not like, like a logo on your video. It's like an algorithm, like Google search algorithm would be able to recognize through the code that this is generated by AI, and so I will flag it as such. Which
So a
would,
bad actor won't be able to manipulate it.
Well,
Right.
that's the hope.
So yeah, rules for everybody that's going to follow rules anyway sometimes don't work when the scary stuff happens.
and another
Yeah.
one, you mentioned a particular person at a particular time.
You mean me in Paris?
Yeah, you in Paris.
This is
Uh,
going to happen, by the way.
I know. Now I'm like, oh,
My guess is that they're going to have guardrails in place in the sense of you cannot get a video of the Pope saying XYZ or doing this, or that because of, just legal
Yeah, something
issues.
damaging.
Yeah, it could be
Yeah.
libel and defamation kind of lawsuits would just swarm that
Mhm.
company that provides that service. But,
So keep the common sense thing going. Is that what you're telling me?
yeah, I think so, yeah.
yes, lean into that. So one of the coolest things from a sales side, I think, is the predictions. And you mentioned a client of yours, spending what would have probably taken 80 hours. He was able to shave all of that time off to get a list to then go after, right, from a sales standpoint. So in sales, what are you most excited about, or where do you see, predictions being used?
So what my brain can wrap itself around right now, ask me again in 6 months, I bet you it's going to be very, very different because I'm learning so much. But businesses can gather so much more intel, so much more quickly, drive decisions and so forth. So what is a good, solid prediction? I would love to see predictions around the likelihood of a prospect making a change. That would be a great
Oh, that's cool.
prediction.
Yeah.
Get to the right people at the right time. I would like to see predictions that would tell me where my competitors have a weakness and where we're strong. Help me predict where someone else might fall short based on patterns or other things, or why my prospects come to me. It's really giving me competitive information if they're already using someone.
Absolutely.
I would like to see predictions around how the issues that are requiring a solution for my prospect, how those issues are showing up in their business. So where all can I dig into in a sales interview? Because I should better understand that the problem they're coming to me for is actually affecting their shipping department. You see what I mean? So digging into where those issues might be. I would like for it to be able to predict how external factors might affect my sales forecast. So I know what's going on in my business, but what are the external things?
Like if it could have predicted COVID.
I don't know, but it might not have been able to predict that COVID could happen, but once it started to show itself, the predictions of how quickly and what would the response rate be, and how's it going to affect my supply chain, and how's it going to affect my buyer, and how does even an economic change buying habits, using that to speed or slow what you think the cash impact
So you
might
can be a
to
little bit more
business.
proactive
For
versus
sure.
just, obviously you're reacting to that external element, but you can be more proactive than you could a few years ago.
Yeah. I would like it to also be able to predict where the problems that my prospect is sharing with me, if they have a problem in their operation or their organization, how is that showing up in how they serve their customer? So we all only sell, we all only sell one of two things. We either help somebody generate more revenue or we lower their cost to operate, right?
Yep.
Okay. So in business to business. And so if you can help me understand the problems they're working toward, is it costing them more money to do it without me? or is it affecting their ability to generate more revenue or bring on more customers? I want to know what that looks like so I can educate a salesperson on how to really dig into those things during their sales interviews.
Yeah, before you even go on the call.
So, there's a big difference between a forecast and a decision. Okay. That AI.
I think every sales manager right now can relate to that.
Okay, right. So there's a difference between a forecast and a decision. AI will predict a forecast, but we have to make a decision. We have to do the action, right, as business owners and leaders. So a prediction is not an action. It's information. And now it's informed information as AI goes.
Exactly.
But that information has to be acted upon for it to make change. And so I truly believe that predictions and forecasts don't cost any money, right? Actions and decisions do. At the same time, predictions and forecasts don't make any money. Actions and decisions do. So we have to be prepared to do things with the information and the forecast we're given.
One of your examples was AI predicting when a customer would make a change. And that brings to mind for me just customer churn prediction software.
Wow.
AI exists where you can kind of get quarterly reports in terms of who among my clients or customers are more likely to churn. And so who should I be focusing on? So that indeed exists.
Absolutely. Right.
Yeah.
Who's vulnerable and what can we do about it? Is it more touches? Is it more information? Is it even getting in front of more people deeper into that organization? Very good. Love it.
Since AI and machine learning are both dependent on data for success, many business success with AI depends on just the quality of a business's data. We talked about this with a former guest, just how many businesses are actually data ready to utilize this technology, because it does require businesses to prepare their data. And I mean, I'm sure you've heard the saying, bad data in, bad data out. So what do you know about preparing your data for AI? And I guess what would you like to know?
One of the biggest challenges for small and medium-sized businesses is the quality and timeliness of data and data collection and reporting.
Yeah.
It's the sales behavior of collecting and reporting quality, meaningful, making it available quickly, that level of information, right? So it is a behavior.
Yeah, I mean, when you go to a prospect or even like a customer and you go to the CRM or whatever you're
That's
using,
right.
and then there's no notes, it's so hard. Say that salesperson leaves and now you're training a new one. There's no notes. There's no data on these
That's
customers or prospects.
Right. It's trapped in their head or it's
Yeah.
stuck on some
Or we
note
don't put
field
it in.
somewhere. That's right. So notoriously and unfortunately often excused, sales teams have gaps in what and how they collect information, how they get it into a CRM, how they do account level planning.
And if they're bringing in revenue, that hides a lot of sins.
That's right. Oh gosh, that's the forgiveness. That's the forgiveness factor right there. And
Fine.
if they're not, they probably are going to starve themselves out of that business or be, yeah. But even documenting client or market assessments, information they're gleaning, sales is the front line to getting important information. And by the time it filters up into the owner or leadership hands, it's been going on for a very, very long time. We missed the trend, so to speak. This is the data, right?
Right.
So data that can be used to inform leaders. AI uses what it gets.
Yeah.
So if it gets weak, you're going to get weak. So if it's wrong, then the predictions are going to be wrong. So the top reasons I hear of why this information collection and timely reporting is so difficult is number one is I don't have time to do it.
I've used that.
It's a favorite.
Before.
and it is a time crunch thing, right? I don't have time to do it, which is quickly followed by I'm too busy to do it. And then the right on the heels of that, number three is nobody uses it anyway. And I believe that as leaders, we have to correct this mindset. We have to help them understand why the information is important, how we're using it, how it could be leveraged against us if we don't have it. We have to be able to explore those things and truly commit to the requirement. And it might even change how we hire salespeople. Start digging into whether they have a skill set around data, collecting data, adding data in, understanding what's important to capture? Do they understand how to analyze responses that are coming to them? Do they have critical thinking skills as opposed to a really big personality,
Yep.
which often accompanies many salespeople? So I think there's a lot to the importance of data collection from a sales perspective, and it's probably going to be one of the more challenged areas of a business in my mind, and one of the most important.
Yeah, because I mean, AI's ability to provide the data-driven insights, to your
Mhm.
point, missing data, duplicate data, weak or biased, inconsistent. I mean, yeah, you're missing the boat. You're going to be left behind,
Mhm.
essentially.
What do you think is most damaging to AI being able to use data to give data-driven predictions? Is it weak information, duplicate information, everything you just listed?
I
What
think
do you think's
missing. I mean, I
missing?
don't know. What about you?
If it's missing, you just can't get the
Yeah.
prediction.
Mhm.
I would say potentially damaging would just be like biased AI
Mhm.
Mm.
that could lead to, like an example of that would be, um, like I always think of like a bank that uses like loan application AI.
Mhm.
Say it's just biased so that it's only going to give it to this demographic or
Mhm.
that demographic. That could lead to some pretty
Sure.
huge issues. It's like
Sure.
you're still getting predictions, they're not good.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Um,
biased.
I worry too about duplicate information because I think that could overload a forecast. If it's just a lot of the same information and it's not auto deduping it in some way, it's going to see a heavier bent toward some information. Is that?
Yeah, they
No,
call
that's
that
fair.
overfitting when you train AI on pretty much
Mm,
the same thing over and over and over, that it can get really good at one kind of prediction. But if you kind of give it something different, it's basically just like a curveball. It'll just swing and miss.
mhm.
And so you kind of need that diversity and training
Yeah.
data so they can handle all sorts of issues.
Particularly if it's fitting into my narrative to begin with.
Exactly. Yeah.
I knew it. So being able to do that, I think as owners and leaders, we have to really dig into what they're capturing, why they're doing it, why that's so important to us, and help people understand why those behaviors and that information is so important to us. I was reading a Harvard Review article around supply chain. And by the way, we sell the supply chain. That's why it was important to me. But the supply chain is taking internal, external, historic, financial, um, production data, other places, right? Everything coming together to make real decisions. Salespeople have to know how to sell into and how to contribute to that data.
Now more than ever.
So AI is kind of pitched as an assistant much of the time,
Hmm.
where you can basically give it a task like ChatGPT, for example, write me this email to send off to a client. I'll look it over, do some edits. But boom, I just save myself some time. Are
Yeah.
there any specific tasks within a sales context that you would like to see delegated to AI?
Amazing everyday use. I love it, right? You gave me a chance to think about this, and now I have thoughts. So, again, so what I would like to delegate to AI, um, and in this assistive way, is to be able to document high quality actions and commitments that were made during a sales meeting. That's what I like. And if you could go ahead and get them into the CRM for me in the right way, that would be amazing.
So like taking the notes, one note, and then just literally let's say it's Salesforce under that customer, it
That's
just
right.
automatically goes there.
Filling in those information and maybe even prompt me on, by the way, did you ask this and this? Those might need to be in your
Mm.
next. Yeah,
Mhm.
that was one. The other is that it could provide for me ongoing touches and contacts with prospects and clients. And I don't mean the contacts that need to be handled in an ongoing active case, but those important communication and touches that happen between meetings and between phone calls. So if it could do those things, it's not going to replace all contact. I want to be clear on that. I would love for it to provide the research of who's making changes so that I can get in front of those. I'd like them to also tell me maybe who the people are in those organizations that are getting ready to change. And while you're at it, could you give me their phone number? That would be great. Um, I would like for AI to help me identify where there may be holes in my sales process. Where did my salespeople leave our sales process? And that's why we are where we are.
That'd be great.
Yeah,
Here's your problem.
That's right. Right. So what was missed? Because a CRM and most other systems are going to tell us what we did do. It doesn't tell us what we didn't do. I would love for it to tell us what's missing, not what we captured.
Love it.
Account level planning. I mean, if you're taking a list here, these are my wishes, okay? So
Yeah,
make these
I'm
things
your
happen.
genie.
Half of them are probably already underway. But account level planning, sometimes that is such a shortfall for a sales team. They don't look at where the opportunities are within an account. How will they expand and grow it, and then strategize what their approach is? Well, give me the trends and the information that will tell me where the opportunities are so I can spend more time strategizing it. Those would be my top 5 hit list. If you're giving me the ability to make things happen quickly for my organization, my clients, boom, that's it.
So as a business owner, what about AI concerns you?
I'm so glad you brought this up. Misuse and manipulation is what concerns me most. Ethical use, responsible use of AI, I think is so important. It's going to be hard to police.
Absolutely.
Greed doesn't fight fair. In fact, it fights dirty. These have always been problems in the history of humankind, but right now it can happen so fast, so vast, and so well disguised. That's what has me concerned. And what I mean is if AI would target the most vulnerable in a data set. An example might be targeting the elderly for a financial product that really isn't going to help them, or people that might, where a product might make an untrue claim, targeting people that are vulnerable to that need, attacking that need, and then just stealing their money and not providing that level. Those are some biggies.
Ethics.
Yeah, for sure. And so those are some biggies, but there's some other ones too. I worry about business owners who don't prepare to properly be AI ready.
They probably won't be around. Or do you think they will?
Well, I don't think they can be, because many small and medium-sized businesses, startups, for example, they don't have the resources to recover from a misstep. If they falsely follow or don't educate or take a direction with their AI strategy, and they haven't thought it through, they haven't put enough information in, I worry they're going to burn up their resources or head down a direction or a path so quickly that they won't be able to recover from it. That does scare me. I think bad or misunderstanding information.
There's obviously a lot of concerns around the ethics. I mean, I can't remember who it was, but they mentioned there's hundreds and thousands of people that are working on developing, this technology. And there's a couple hundred people worried about the ethics and developing the ethics. So it's like the disparity, and you talk about the race. It's like, legislation's behind, right? And not that that's abnormal, but I think the gap is just getting wider and wider. And so that certainly is a concern. Amy, this has been just an enlightening conversation. Thank you. Is there any words of wisdom or anything you'd like to leave the audience with?
Keep asking questions. Don't automatically take the answers you're given. Don't automatically take the response as guaranteed, accurate, reliable. The speed of change and the capacity for AI's capabilities is limitless. And so things are going to move so fast. Dedicate the time to it. You said a paradigm shift early in our conversation, right? So, paradigm shifts are major changes in the way things are done or the way things operate, right? I think business owners and organizations are shifting all over themselves right now, trying to figure out how to utilize this tool, not get run over by it, and truly be prepared. So.
No, I completely agree, which is, hey, why we're talking about it today. So, Amy, tell the audience how they can find you if they want to connect with you.
Well, thank you very much. Reach out. I'm open to a conversation. You can reach us on our website at impactsalessystems.com. I would love to have a conversation.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Thanks.
Thank you.